October 23, 1972, 10 days after Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 vanished over the Andes, the search was officially called off. The experts agreed no one could survive those temperatures at that altitude for that long. The 45 souls on board were declared dead. The world moved on. But up at 12,000 feet, huddled in the shattered remains of a fuselage buried in snow, the survivors heard the news on a small transistor radio. They realized the terrifying truth. Somehow, they were alive, and no one was coming for them. What followed were 72 days of hell that redefined human resilience. They faced avalanches that buried them alive. Temperatures dropped to minus 30 degrees Celsius, and then the ultimate taboo. To survive starvation, they made a pact that shocked the world. They had to consume the bodies of the deceased. It was a decision born of pure desperation, a choice between certain death and an unthinkable existence. They weren't just survivors anymore. They had become a society of the snow, bound by a singular, impossible goal: to live. By December, they knew waiting was a death sentence. They had to walk out. Nando Parrado and Roberto Canessa volunteered for a suicide mission. With no climbing gear, no maps, and sleeping bags made of airplane insulation, they began climbing a 15,000-foot mountain peak in jeans and rugby shirts. They believed that just over the ridge lay the green valleys of Chile. They were wrong. When they reached the summit, they saw only more endless, frozen mountains. It was a moment that would break most men. Instead, Parrado looked at Canessa and said, "We may be walking to our deaths, but I would rather walk to meet my death than wait for it here." For 10 days, they walked. Their bodies were consuming themselves. They descended from the snow line into a valley where they saw the first signs of life: running water. And then, on December 20th, the impossible happened. Across a roaring river, they saw a man on horseback, Sergio Catalan, a Chilean arriero. Too weak to shout over the water, they couldn't communicate. The next morning, Catalan threw a rock wrapped in paper and a pencil across the river. Nando Parrado wrote a note that is now legendary: "I come from a plane that fell in the mountains." Catalan rode for hours to the nearest police outpost. The news broke instantly. The Andes had survivors. December 22nd, 1972, the sound of salvation echoed through the valley. Two Chilean Air Force Bell UH-1H helicopters, pushed to their absolute operational limits, navigated the treacherous winds of the Andes. Guided by Parrado, the pilots couldn't believe their eyes when they spotted the fuselage. Down below, the 14 remaining survivors heard the rotors. They burst out of the fuselage, waving coats, screaming, crying. It was chaotic, dangerous, and overwhelming. Due to weight limits and weather, only 6 could be rescued that day. But the message was clear: the miracle was real. The final 8 were rescued the next day, December 23rd. Of the 45 who flew, only 16 returned. The media frenzy was intense, first celebrating the miracle, then recoiling at the methods of survival. But the story of the Andes survivors isn't about death. It's about the terrifying, beautiful lengths humans will go to for life. They proved that even when the world gives up on you, you don't have to give up on yourself. If this story of resilience moved you, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most incredible moments.